Triumphant Tales is your place for hope and healing, 'cause you got this, girl.
Here's Patricia with a Y with today's episode.
And welcome back to another edition of Triumphant Tales. And on today's show, we have Jennie Mustafa Julak, who has written a book all about that horrible voice inside of your head. She's even given her a name. Her name is Hilda, and here she is. Jennie, tell us about Hilda.
Hi guys, Hilda is the name I give for that irksome inner naysayer who lives in the back of your brain, who's on a mission to tell you you suck. Like her whole mission in life is to keep you small and keep you safe and keep you tucked away and make sure that you never fail again. Unfortunately, if you listen to her, you'll never succeed either, but that's beside the point.
And so Hilda's been a process for you, over 10 years in the making.
Yeah, so I actually launched my book on the anniversary of starting my business, so I know it's exactly 10 years. How poetic, right? It is a long piece of work and research to put this thing together. But yeah, Hilda has been in the making for some time.
And she finally brought her to life. What helped you the most in bringing her to life? Because that must have been quite the process. I mean, you've been working on her so long. Did your Hilda try to stop Hilda from happening?
Oh my gosh, and then some. Yeah, so Hilda came from my coaching experience. As the Audacity coach, I help people who are on the brink of something spectacular figure out how to get out of their own way and make it happen. And in doing that work, the inner critic and the inner saboteur came up all the time, which are phrases we use in the coaching industry. But they felt too highfalutin for me. Like, why are we giving this voice in our brain with all this negativity such a fancy title? So I decided to give her a silly name. Apologies to anybody named Hilda, but it was the silliest name that popped into my brain in the spur of the moment, dancing in the moment of a coaching session. And most of my clients have stuck with Hilda, but they've named her other things as well. You get to name yours whatever you want. Now, your second question, did Hilda take me for a ride in writing this book? You have no idea. I had a visit from Hilda on a daily basis. She was constantly trying to convince me that you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you don't know enough, you don't really want to do this, Jennie, because she was terrified of me experiencing the possibility of failure. And unfortunately, the way she goes about it is to make you feel really, really crummy about yourself by filling your brain with all these negative messages. And sometimes she was more successful than others, but obviously I overcame.
Obviously you did. So how long has Hilda been out for, and what are you hoping will happen with women who read this book?
Hilda came out on September 1st, so she's a brand new baby. And what I hope to do is to make Hilda a household name. I don't really care if Coach Jennie is ever a household name, but I want Hilda to be. And what I hope will happen is that the Stop Hilda movement will grow. As soon as people are introduced to this concept of Hilda and I start telling them a little bit about how she works, why she does the crap that she does, and what we can do about her, more importantly, how we can tackle her nonsense, get out of our own way, and stop with the self-sabotage, people are hooked. They're ready. But the most ambitious people I know are constantly struggling with Hilda because she's so freaking effective and smarmy like that. What I hope happens is people read this book, people connect with this idea of Hilda and get determined to shut her down, to stop her in her tracks. Because who knows what changes could happen if somebody gets out of their own way. The cure for cancer could be in somebody's brain right now, waiting to be unleashed, but being sabotaged by Hilda and her happy nonsense.
Well, and that reminds me of that old saying that, how many dreams are in the graveyard, because people did not have that get up and go when they were alive. And so many unanswered dreams and unanswered prayers are lying there because we didn't get over Hilda. I just love her name, and I know that she is going to be that Stop Hilda movement. I think that you're starting it now for sure. So is there anything that we can do, just one thing that I can tell our listeners, followers, watchers out there to say, let's stop Hilda today?
Yes. The first thing you have to do is learn to differentiate Hilda's happy nonsense in your brain from your truth. That's the bottom line here, people, is that most of the time you hear a thought, it's in your brain. Why would your brain lie to you, right? But what we have to do is check that thought, question the thoughts that make us feel really crummy. Because see, Hilda wants you to think something bad so you feel kind of crummy and you act accordingly. So if you think something bad, you feel really bad, your action is usually inaction or sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
We want to say, wait, that thought, I disagree with that. I'm calling BS on that. Here's what I really think. Here's my truth. And then that thought begets what kind of feeling? An empowered one. And that empowered feeling, if you act accordingly, you start doing stuff that matters. So that's the bottom line. I want to raise your awareness. And from now on, when you're like, I'm thinking something negative, or I just heard myself say something negative and self-defeatist, attribute it to Hilda and start from there.
Awesome. So giving it a new personality and a different name helps you separate from the negative so that you can focus on the positive. I love that idea. Thank you so much, Jennie. Now tell us where to find Hilda and where we can buy the book so that we can follow along. Yes.
Yes, isn't she pretty? So this is Hilda, and you can check her out at hildathebook.com. That's where that's kind of the home for her. You can sign up for my email list and download your handy dandy Hilda cheat sheet, as well as get the links over to Amazon. Yes, we always have to have a cheat sheet. And go over to Amazon. She's available on paperback or on Kindle on Amazon.
Awesome. And has anybody else commented that the Hilda is a little bit too cute for being that negative character?
Yes, I have gotten that comment because she is kind of cute. But here's the thing about Hilda. She's annoyingly perfect. The Hilda that lives in my brain is just annoyingly perfect. Kind of, you ever see Mean Girls? Kind of like Regina looking, right?
Gotcha.
So in my mind, she wasn't an old, ugly crone. Other people feel like she's this old, ugly, mean, witchy looking crone. That's not how my Hilda shows up to me. That wouldn't actually be effective to me. It's that girl I hated in high school. Let's be real.
There you go. There you go. But her name wasn't Hilda because we don't.
Her name was not Hilda.
Thank you so much for joining me, Jennie. And I know that your book is going to be one of those things that really helps because sometimes we need that simple language and not that highfalutin language in order to really crack through on our ideas. Because you know how it is when we get into that medical zone or that, where those coaching words and the jargon just that they've create a disconnect. So I just love that you created Hilda, and I am definitely going to check that out. Thanks so much, Jennie.
For sure.
You can't keep me down, tied up and bound, stuck to the ground. 'Cause guess what? I found my crown. Dreams never drown. What's been lost has been found. So watch me fly to my freedom. Triumphant Tales is your place for hope and healing. 'Cause you got this, girl.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Triumphant Tales. While you're still pumped up from this episode, be sure to write down your Triumph task and connect at patricia.com for this week's Triumph tools. Until next time, stay safe and think free.